We are setting up a router/firewall using a Raspberry Pi 5 and OpenWrt. The Raspberry Pi comes with one Ethernet port, so I'll be using a hat Ethernet adapter on top. The U2500 will give us two 2.5 gigabit Ethernet ports and an NVMe slot. The first thing we want to do is update the firmware on our Raspberry Pi 5. If you have a new Raspberry Pi, install the Raspberry Pi OS and update the firmware. We will override this image once the firmware is installed. If you have the Raspberry Pi OS installed, you can go ahead and skip this step and update the firmware directly. So the first thing you want to do is find the IP address of your Raspberry Pi. Then you want to SSH into it. Next, we update the system and do a full upgrade. Now we update the firmware. OpenWrt is an open source operating system that's been supported for over 20 plus years for routers. It's very flexible and highly customizable. It offers a firewall, DNS filtering, VPN, and more. Now that the firmware has been updated, let's restart. After your Pi has been restarted, type this command to check your firmware. After that's done, shut down the Pi and take out your NVMe or micro SDHC. Next, go to this website from openwrt.org and search for Raspberry Pi 5. Go to Customized Installed Packages and/or First Boot Script and enter these additional packages to enable Ethernet adapter. Then scroll down and go to Request Build. Once it's successfully built, go down and download the image. In our case, it's a fresh Raspberry Pi without the WRT installed. If you did have the OpenWrt installed, you can do the sys upgrade. Once we have the image downloaded, we need to download Etcher to flash the image onto our Raspberry Pi. Then hit Flash from File, find the image, then select your drive, and then flash. Then take your drive and put it into the Raspberry Pi. Connect your cables for the WAN and the LAN. Next, boot up the Raspberry Pi, open WRT, and then hit Enter. Next, on the device, type in passwd and then change the password. Then reboot. You will typically connect the WAN to a modem, but you can connect it to a router or switch for the time being. You need to make sure that the computer you're using and the Raspberry Pi are in the same network. OpenWrt uses the IP address 192.168.1.1 as the default. So here I set my IP address to 192.168.1.2 just so I can connect to it. So the default gateway is going to be the IP address of the router, OpenWrt, and the preferred DNS is going to be Google's standard. Once that's done, go to 192.168.1.1, enter your password and username root to access the interface. Now the first thing you want to do is go to Network Interfaces and add new interface. Type in WAN and select the device you want to use. Create interface and save. Then select the pending changes and hit Save and Apply. You should be able to connect the LAN port to your computer or switch. The WAN would typically go from the modem where your internet is provided. Go to Edit on the WAN port, hit Firewall Settings, select the WAN as the zone, and click Save. You now created a router. Your LAN is your local network and your WAN is the internet. Next we go to Network, Firewall. These are the default settings for the firewall. If you scroll down, you should see zones. In our first rule, the LAN zone can move into the WAN zone. It can accept incoming traffic and also outgoing traffic, and move from zone to zone. For our second rule, the WAN zone cannot move into any other zones. It's rejecting incoming traffic and allowing outgoing traffic. and cannot move from zone to zone. It's also rewriting or masquerading our internal IP address to our public IP address. Next, we go to port forwarding. This will allow you to forward incoming traffic to a specific IP address or port. For example, if you wanted to host a website and expose port 80 to your web server, you would do it here. You would typically create a new zone and remove LAN, as you would only want the internet to be able to access a specific zone to a specific IP address and only a specific port. Next, let's check out traffic rules. Here you can set custom firewall rules, such as allowing traffic between different zones. Or for example, you can block a smart home device from accessing the internet. Next, we have NAT rules, which we usually wouldn't set up for a home network. And lastly, we have IP sets, where we can group multiple IP addresses into a set. This allows us to create rules for that specific group of IP addresses, without having to create rules for each and every IP address individually. Let's now look at Wi-Fi. Go to Network, Wireless. Here you see our network card, and we're going to add a new Wi-Fi connection. In General Setup, we can set the Wi-Fi name, set the zone that it can be able to access, and also put a password in for the Wi-Fi. There are also many advanced features that you can try. That's some of the basics of this OpenWrt operating system. Now we need to save our changes and enable our Wi-Fi. Like and subscribe if this helped you out. Thank you.